Booktube. This is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. Just wanted to share with you that today I finished, for the first time, reading a book on an actual e-reader device. And I know I am a dinosaur, right? You can leave me a dinosaur emoji in the comment section. I know I've waited a really long time. And part of it has been just because I really love the physical experience of books. I'm in a room surrounded by books, and there's just something about the physicality of books that I really like. But I'm not here to bash e-readers. For some people, that's the only way they can read books. Some people like to collect them. There's lots and lots of videos about people talking about what the best e-reader device is, which obviously you won't find that out from me. But my first e-reading experience was not great for all the reasons that I have kind of hesitated to read books on an e-reader. So first of all, I just want to show you, this is my e-reader. I've named it Buzz. It's very small. It could fit in my purse. I can see myself reading definitely things on it, and I'll talk a little bit more about Buzz here just in a second. But the device I used was this one, which is a little bit bigger. The main thing I want to stress here is part of the reason why it wasn't a great experience has to do with what I was reading. I read Leading Change by John Kotter. And I don't know what the thing with penguins is. Like, they're on, I finally got the hard copy today. I needed it last week. But anyway, so yeah, so he has like a penguin thing. There's no mention of penguins in the book, so I don't know what that's about exactly. But anyway, my boss thought for my week working remotely, I kind of had suggested to him, like, oh, maybe I could read a book for professional development. And so this is the book that he wanted me to read. So I put this on hold at the library, but of course it did not come in time for my recent week of working remotely, which I will share more about with you on Friday. But anyway, so it didn't come in. So he was like, no problem. I'll lend you one of my older e-readers. And he brought it in with a charger. Initially, he was going to try to lend it to me to move it from this device to this device, which I'm glad that didn't happen in hindsight. But anyway, this book initially came out in 1996. I read a more recent, an updated preface from the author from 2012. I'm gonna have to talk to my boss about why he wanted me to read this. I have no idea. But it is without a doubt the worst book I have read this year. And part of it's just simply because it's so out of date. It's talking about imagining the workforce in the 21st century, and we're a quarter of way in there. So yeah, I really disliked this book. Now my boss is fantastic though, right? I mean, not only did he let me work remotely, but he knew that there were interruptions and things like that. But one of the reasons why I wanted a book to take with me was that if you wake up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, like I did many times last week, you can read, and that could be work. That could be work time. And so, I really was hoping that he would let me read something, but this was just the wrong choice on many levels. And for those of you out there who love John Kotter, like, that's awesome, that's great. It does not, I always try to read these books, and my philosophy is I'm gonna eat the meat and spit out the bone. There's hardly any meat in this book for me. So when I say I had reasons for, not really wanting to read something on an e-device, an e-reader specifically, it's all the stars aligned when I was reading this book. So the first thing is when he just lends me the device and the charger, he kind of is like, well, it doesn't hold the charge very well. And I'm thinking, like, okay, all right, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. Like, I can, there's plenty of outlets. Like, I can plug it in, no big deal. But I don't ever have to plug in a physical book. It's always ready. It is always ready. The second thing is that this particular book and books like this, these kind of professional development, business-related books, so lots of times there's charts, there's graphs in them, and it doesn't work. Like, it would have been even worse on my device because its screen is smaller. So this part, like, would have just barely fit the screen. But there were a lot of things like that. Also, I just want to say, as far as like business books, like this book's only 187 pages, and I think if you can't write a book that's 200 pages long, I mean, I don't know. But this book in 1996 cost, oh goodness, $25, right? Which is a lot to pay. But look at all the white space in this book. So I thought I was gonna just fly through it. I thought I was gonna go through it really fast. I would have to physically take my glasses off to be able to see the graphs here. I know another thing is that whenever I read a book for work, I feel really compelled to show my employer that it was worth their time for me to read this book. And I know one of you told me, like, oh, there's so much room for notes, Kelly. There's so much room for notes. Well, this isn't my device, so I'm not gonna write notes on a book my boss has read, and he has his own notes and his own annotations in here. So I had to write all of my notes down, which made it more time consuming, and that could be for good or for bad. The real problem with it is that when I first opened the book, I was sitting in the guest bedroom. I'm like, I'm just gonna turn this on, see if it needs to be charged, check things out. He'd kind of shown me some stuff, but we hadn't actually opened the book. And because we hadn't done that, I don't know what was wrong. I'm a total newbie to e-readers, so I don't know what happened. But instead of text, there were just all of these zeros, and some of them look like a Sharpie had been cut through them. So I have to call my boss because this is his device, right? And he's home with a sick kid, but he's like still like trying to help me. We're trying to troubleshoot. He's looking at his end, you know, on another device of like what might be happening, but there's no text. I could see the graphs, but there's no text of the book. It took us an hour to do a factory. We finally had to do a factory reset. He had to give me all kinds of personal information and which he did freely, which was very kind of him. But yeah, so I'm entering all this information into the Kindle, and the factory reset finally allowed me to read the book. But it was an hour that I could have been actually reading the book. This is not something I have a problem with when it comes to physical books, right? The text is always there. It doesn't disappear. Now, it definitely can be too small. Last year, I bought a book online, sight unseen. If I had picked it up in a store, I would not have bought it. And this is the Penguin book of Christmas stories. Look at that beautiful cover, this cloth. I mean, it's just wonderful, just wonderful. And then I open it up and look how small. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. Maybe if I show you this book. Right? Like the font size is, it is so small on here. And so the first book that I'm planning to read on Buzz is the same book, which someone generously sent me the e-file for. It took me a while. It took some help at the library to get it onto the e-reader, but I'm so excited to be able to read this book. I already have flipped ahead a little bit to look at the font. The font size is fantastic. And so I do plan on, you know, at least starting the Penguin book of Christmas stories this year. It looks amazing, but I know myself well enough. Like my eyes would suffer for trying to read that. So I'm not saying that I'm giving up on e-readers or anything like that. The journey is just beginning, and I'm looking forward to telling you what it's like to read that short story collection on Buzz. But yeah, it was, again, my e-reading device was mainly terrible because the book I was reading was terrible. And I did read it at, once we finally got the text in there, I assure you, I was reading it at all hours of the day and night. But I'm so glad to be done with it. I feel very, very accomplished about that. And I'm going to turn this in to my boss tomorrow with the charger and say, I don't know what you were thinking, why you thought that I needed to read this, what you thought I should get out of it, but whatever it is, you should just tell me. Because it was, it was so painful. There were times I was physically just reading it out loud so that I could focus and concentrate on it, because it's just words on a page, unfortunately. So anyway, here's the worst book of 2025. I feel extremely confident in saying that now in September. But anyway, I'd love to hear about your e-reading experiences. I know a lot of you read physical books as well as use some kind of e-reader device. But, you know, what was it like when you first started, or what's your favorite device, or whatever you want to share with me? It'd be awesome down in the comment section. As always, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji. In this case, like I said, I am a dinosaur. But you can leave an emoji. You can give this video a thumbs up, which I really do appreciate. And I look forward, as always, to engaging with you in the comment section or elsewhere in our little Booktube universe. So thanks so much for watching Booktube. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back on Friday with my Friday Reads video. Bye.